What's up everyone, Hero276 here, and welcome to today's video, and welcome back to my channel. Today I bring to you an ABC style team that worked pretty well for me in the Ultra League Premier Classic, featuring Gyarados, Venusaur, and EMBOAR. We lead into Sylveon here, and this isn't a great lead because I'm running Dragon Breath and Crunch, so I'm going to swap into Venusaur, and we get met with an opposing Venusaur. In the mirror match, I like to go straight Sludge Bomb, because it applies heavy damage pressure, and maybe we'll get a shield or two. The Venusaur looks like they're going to go for their own Sludge Bomb, but I sneak a Vine Whip through, so I'm basically, a Sludge Bomb ahead of them on energy. I'm perfectly content with letting one go through and then shielding the next one. We actually draw a shield from the Venusaur, which is very nice, and I sneak another Vine Whip through. So I'm going to shield whatever move this is. It's a Frenzy Plant, that's very unfortunate. So I'm going to get to the Sludge Bomb here, and this should either take out the Venusaur or get their second shield. And it actually gets their second shield, which is very nice, so I'm going to try to snipe with EMBOAR and get ahead on energy. And my opponent comes in with Machamp, and this is perfect because we have the ultimate weapon for Machamp. We have Blast Burn, and Blast Burn will one-shot Machamp from this health range. So I'm going to overfarm a little bit and go straight for that Blast Burn. This will be doing massive damage onto the Machamp, because they are shieldless. Boom! Look at that! Taking out the Machamp. Let's see what the opponent decides to come in with. It's going to be the Sylveon. Okay. Can I reach a move in time? I do reach the Rock Slide. I didn't think I was going to be able to get to the Blast Burn, but I'll take a Rock Slide. That's good damage right there. And now I think at this point I'm going to come in with the Gyarados and try to get to an Aqua Tail. At this rate, Sylveon won't be able to charm me down from this range, so they are going to have to throw a move. And it's the Psyshock. That does okay damage. I'm going to go and overfarm a little bit and go straight for the Aqua Tail. This should take out the Sylveon from this health range. Venusaur comes back in. They throw a move, but at this rate they're so low that I could probably come in and Vine Whip them down before they get to a move. So that is a good game to my opponent. Very well played. Let's hop right into the next match. And we got Gyarados into another Sylveon. As we've stated before, this is not a great lead, so I'm going to swap directly into Venusaur. I promise you this is not the same battle. And this time something's a little bit different. The Sylveon's staying in, so they must be incredibly weak to Venusaur in the back. My opponent no-shields the Sludge Bomb, and we're able to farm down. We're in a great position. We have moves loaded against the opposing Victreebel that decides to come in. Please excuse my pronunciation. I know I pronounce Victreebel a little bit unorthodox. We land another Sludge Bomb, and this is great for us because now it's in Frenzy Plant range. Victreebel's going to throw a Leaf Blade. That's not going to take me out, so I'm going to double up on Frenzy Plants right here. I'm going to throw one of them and then dip into EMBOAR to snipe. And we're able to snipe. And what's in the back? It's Swampert. And suddenly it makes total sense as to why my opponent stayed in with a Charmer against my Venusaur. I'm going for the Blast Burn here because I think my opponent's going to no-shield it. And Blast Burn actually does some very solid damage against the Swampert. My opponent's going to throw a Hydro Cannon, and I'm perfectly fine with letting the EMBOAR go down. EMBOAR no longer has play. I have two Pokemon that do exceptionally well against Swampert. Gyarados is doubly resisting the Mud Shots and Earthquakes and resisting the Hydro Cannon, so it's basically a wall to Swampert. We're going to be able to Dragon Breath all the way down, and that is a good game to my opponent. Very well played. Hopping into the next match, and we've got Gyarados against Toxicroak. This is a fine lead for us because we are resisting the counters and Mud Bombs. My opponent swaps into a Venusaur, and I swap in with my own Venusaur. My goal is to land one Sludge Bomb and use EMBOAR to farm all the way down, giving it a ton of energy for whatever decides to come in. I reach my Sludge Bomb, and I'm hoping that at this point my opponent lets it go through. I'm realizing that my opponent is ahead on energy, so they're going to outpace me to the next Sludge Bomb. I sneak the Vine Whip through, and I could technically shield this if I want to, but I want EMBOAR to have some energy for whatever decides to come in. And now, it's EMBOAR time. Farming down the Venusaur, we're able to do that before they can reach a move, and we're able to reach the Blast Burn in time. This will be dealing some massive damage to the Toxicroak if they decide not to let it go through, and it gets the shield. It's actually CMP tie, which is really nice. I'm going to start shielding now, I'm going to count to 5 counters and then try to come in and catch the Mud Bomb onto the Gyarados, but I have no such luck. And my opponent swaps in Aggron, and this actually isn't too bad. Despite dealing resisted damage with the Dragon Breaths and taking super effective from the Smackdowns, as you can see, those Aqua Tails are doing big damage, so we might actually get a shield here from this next one. We do get a shield, and at this point, we have a win condition. We have to come back in with the EMBOAR. We sneak an Ember through, that's really good. We gotta shield up the Stone Edge and Ember down the Aggron. And we're gonna probably leave with a Blast Burn. Can we Ember all the way down? We Ember all the way down, leave with the Blast Burn, and we're gonna throw that at the Toxicroak. And this will land for big damage, so that is a good game to my opponent. Very well played. Let's hop into the next one. Hopping into the next match, we've got Gyarados into Walrein. Very negative matchup for us because Walrein gets to those Icicle Spears faster than we get to Crunches. So this is generally very bad for us. We're going to have to eat an Icicle Spear here, as unfortunately, Venusaur doesn't do particularly good up against Walrein either. But we actually catch an Icicle Spear onto the EMBOAR. This should be doing resisted damage, not a whole lot of damage right there. And in comes Slowbro, and this is really, really bad for me. One big thing that my team struggles with is Psychic types, so Gallade, Slowbro, you name it. Venusaur is technically our best response, but confusion damage is just so bad that I have to come in here with the Gyarados and possibly land a Crunch. We shield the Psychic, so that's good for us right there. We get to the back-to-back Crunches. We have to land one of these. First Crunch. Okay, that lands. So we're going to Dragon Breath all the way down. We don't take nearly as much confusion damage. And the Walrein comes back in. So at this point, we are going to throw the Crunch. And if we get the defense drop, we may have a chance. No defense drop. Okay. And the weak connection. So you'll love to see that. Gyarados able to reach one more Dragon Tail before fainting. That's really nice right there. And we're going to actually swap into Venusaur and preserve it for a potential sack swap with the Gyarados. So we shield the Earthquake. I don't know why my opponent decided to go Earthquake, but it doesn't even matter because there's an Alolan Muck in the back. And this is basically a good game because all of Venusaur's moves are resisted. So that's a big oof right there. We're going to unfortunately lose this matchup. Oh yeah, and my opponent still has a shield, which is even better for us. All sarcasm intended. Frenzy Plant going to be coming through. Why am I even commentating at this point? We know we lose. I think this is the Dark Pulse right here, so this should be putting the nail in the coffin for the Venusaur, and Gyarados gets farmed down. So good game to my opponent, very well played. Sometimes you just have teams that hardwall you. Gyarados into Sylveon again. So we're going to swap directly into Venusaur, and my opponent swaps in Walrein. But here's something. We're ahead on energy, meaning we're going to be able to outpace to the Frenzy Plant. And Frenzy Plant lands for big damage. Can we farm all the way down? No, we're not going to be able to, but I think at this rate, if we just shield once, I think we will be able to farm all the way down, and we do. Only having to give up one shield there. And the opponent quits. So, good game to my opponent. Very well played. Hopping into the next match, we've got Gyarados into Gallade. A very neutral matchup, but it's better than any matchup that Venusaur and EMBOAR would have against a Confusion user. So what I'm going to try to do is catch the Leaf Blade, but my opponent simultaneously swaps into a Walrein against my Venusaur. Somehow we're actually able to outpace to the Frenzy Plant, and this will be putting on some shield pressure for that Walrein. It's actually CMP, so I'm actually going to let this Icicle Spear go through, seeing as I can probably get to another Frenzy Plant before they can farm me down. And actually the threat of another Frenzy Plant forces my opponent to throw, but because I snuck the Vine Whip through, I'm going to be able to get to another Frenzy Plant before I go down. And this will be putting on more shield pressure for the opponent. And they actually let it go through, giving us switch advantage. The Gallade comes in, and now we can safely come in with Gyarados, knowing that my EMBOAR doesn't have to face a Confusion user. So this is really good for me. Aqua Tail goes through, and it does some very nice chip damage. In kind, I'm going to allow the Gallade's Leaf Blade to come through. and my opponent actually swaps in a Venusaur, and it's EMBOAR time. Look at those embers, ladies and gentlemen. Venusaur's going to throw a move, but I can tank whatever move they throw. It's Frenzy Plant, and albeit we don't tank it well, but at this rate we are going to be able to Ember all the way down without having to throw a move. And because they get to another Frenzy Plant, I'm actually going to shield, considering the Gallade's probably in Rock Slide range. Yeah, that's definitely Rock Slide range. If I can get to 2 back-to-back Rock Slides, I should be able to win this. Gallade shields the first Rock Slide, and we're able to get to the second. So that is going to be a good game to my opponent. Very well played. Rock Slide able to take out the Gallade right there. Let's hop right into the next match. Hopping into the next match, we've got Gyarados into Gallade. Once again, neutral, but we love to see it here since both of our Pokemon in the back are weak to confusion. We try to throw the Aqua Tail, but we're actually hit with CMP, which Gallade wins. Both Gyarados and Gallade have the same base attack, but Gallade has a lower max CP, meaning its attack stat in the Ultra League is a little bit higher. So we're going to trade shields here. I get to the next Aqua Tail, but once again we hit CMP, and that's very frustrating for me, as I have to commit my second shield. Now I'm going to throw the Aqua Tail, and I'm going to see if my opponent is also going to commit their second shield. And they do. So at this rate, all shields are down. Dragon Breath versus Confusion. Gyarados gets to the Aqua Tail first, and this should be taking out the Gallade. And we have successfully won switch. Snorlax is going to come in to get some farm, but Venusaur does have a decent Snorlax matchup, as both Venusaur and Snorlax should arrive at their moves at roughly the same time, but Frenzy Plants hit considerably harder than Body Slams, and Superpowers resisted, so Snorlax can't really go for Superpowers there. We are going to throw the Frenzy Plant here, and that does some modest damage to this Snorlax. Snorlax is going to throw another Body Slam, but this should not take me out from this range. Body Slam, yeah, it does some solid chip, but we're going to be able to reach a Frenzy Plant. My opponent tries to catch on the Venusaur, but we have EMBOAR. And EMBOAR is really going to start to go to town here against this Venusaur. We do have to be wary, as a second Frenzy Plant will be able to take me out or get me very low. So I'm going to throw the Rock Slide. It should be able to KO from this range, and it does. And the Snorlax is all that's left. They throw a Body Slam, but that's perfectly fine since we have a move stored on Venusaur. But they actually undercharge the Body Slam, and we're able to reach the Blast Burn BM. And that is going to be a good game to my opponent. Very well played. No disrespect there. They top left on that Blast Burn BM right there. You'll love to see it. Hopping into the next match, and we're leading Gyarados into Dragonite. This is actually pretty nice for us, as our Dragon Breaths are dealing super effective, whereas their Dragon Tails are dealing neutral. At this rate, they are going to get to a Dragon Claw, but I'm going to shield it because I want to preserve some health on the Gyarados. And I'm going to wait till they get to their next Dragon Claw and actually throw the Aqua Tail right here. And that should take out the Dragonite right there. And in comes the Venusaur, and I'm just going to stay in and let my opponent juice up on as much energy as possible, because it's effectively going to be useless against my EMBOAR. Crunch actually gets to the defense fall, and Gyarados is able to reach an Aqua Tail before we faint. The opponent shields it, and actually the threat of Gyarados forces them into throwing. This is an awesome position for us. At this point, we're going to bring in the EMBOAR and start to get ahead on energy. And at this rate, the Venusaur decides to throw a move. I'm going to tank it. And it is the Sludge Bomb, which doesn't do a crap ton of damage. And their final Pokemon is a Togekiss. And this game is essentially over, especially because we reached the Rock Slide in time. This should be getting the shield. And Venusaur should be able to take out the Togekiss with a shield advantage and a Sludge Bomb. Venusaur is able to reach the Sludge Bomb before the Togekiss gets to a move, and this should KO here. GG, very well played to my opponent. Overall, I felt this team was actually pretty strong. EMBOAR's a little squishier than I had hoped, but it still did very well, all things considering. If you want to go ahead and invest in one, I'm not stopping you. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.